All right, here we are in another video tutorial. In this one, we are going to make a Mancala board that looks like this. Our goal with making this 3D model in Fusion is you will be able to program the router to cut out all these pockets for you and do it relatively quick. So in this video, we're going to, again, just make this 3D model. In the next video, we'll show you how to use Fusion to program the CNC router to cut it out. All right, so I might reference this a few times as we go through this video here. So I'm going to go to my new tab. This is probably what your screen looks like when you get here. And the very first thing I want to do is make sure we get this thing saved so you don't lose it. So we're going to go ahead and click on this disk up here. Fusion 360 is a web-based program, so it'll save stuff to the web. Your location down here might say like admin files right now. So what we're going to do is click on this drop down. We'll hide that. Oop, no, we won't. Oh. All right, we're going to go, oh my goodness. We're going to go back to Fusion. There's where we're going to go. All right, and we're going to click on New Project, and we're going to call this our Woods 1 game. And then we can hit Enter. All right, and then I need to scroll through this list, and I'm going to click on Woods 1 game, and you'll see that shows up top here for location. All right, then we're going to give our file a name. We're going to call it the Mancala game, and you hit Enter. Right now, up top here on your tab, it should say Mancala now. If it still says Untitled, you did something wrong. Go through that again. All right. So now that we've got that saved, we can go ahead and we can start creating. So the way Fusion works is you make a 2D sketch, which then turns into a 3D object. So we're going to sketch our game board first, right? And to make our life easy when we go to program the CNC router, we want to sketch on this plane right here that's in between the green and the red lines, right? Probably the easiest way to find it is by coming up here to your view cube, clicking on top, and then that'll be the only plane that you see. All right, so we're going to sketch on that top plane. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, and I'm going to go right to where these two lines cross. You can see it snaps into that position. That's called the origin. So I'm going to click once. Now I'm not holding down on my mouse. I just clicked once, and that allows me to tab between these two boxes and enter in some dimensions. And so our board game is going to be 5 inches wide and 16 inches long. Right now, when I hit that second number in, it got really big and disappeared. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Enter. And then I'll hit this little house icon up here, and it should give me this view. We can double check these numbers. Now, if yours don't say 5 by 16, don't panic. We can double click on these dimensions, and we can type in the right number. So if you had 5 by 18, you could just double click here, type in 16, and it'll change that dimension back, right? I'm going to delete this dimension. I'm going to pretend like, oh, I forgot to put that dimension in completely. You can come up here to this dimension tool, and you can click 2 points that you want a dimension in between. And you can add the dimension after the fact as well. All right, so we should all have a 5 by 16 inch rectangle. We're going to finish our sketch, and then we're going to hit this extrude button, and we are going to extrude this up 3/4 of an inch. So I could grab this grip, and I could sit over here and struggle and try and drag it exactly 0.75. But I'm going to come over to this box, and I'm just going to type in 0.75, confirm I've got the right number in, and then I can hit Enter. Right now, on our Mancala game, we've got the 2 big baskets at the end where you can score, and then we've got the baskets in the middle where you move your beans or your seeds or whatever game piece it is you decide to use from place to place. Okay, we're going to do the big basket on the end first. So we're going to go Create Sketch, and this time we're going to click on the top of our Mancala game. So we're sketching on the top. Okay, now I'm using the center rollerball button on my mouse to pan. You could come down here and grab this hand and click on it and drag around to pan as well. Okay, so I'm going to grab the rectangle. This time I'm just going to draw a random sized rectangle out here. So I'm not really worried about these numbers. I'm just going to draw it to a random size. I'm going to use the dimension tool here to dimension its distance from some edges. And then I'm going to come back and add a size to it. Right? And the distance I wanted from all my edges is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go 0.75. I'm going to click these 2 blue lines, We'll open up a dialog box. This time I'm not going to type 0.75 in. I'm just going to click on this dimension and hit enter. And that's like telling Fusion, I want you to copy that existing dimension. All right, so we'll just click on there, hit enter, until we want it to copy that dimension. Now, as these lines turn from blue to black, that's telling us they're stuck in place, they're fully constrained. You can see this line here is still that light blue color because I haven't dimensioned how wide this is yet. The height is fixed because it's 3/4 of an inch off of each edge, but my width is not set yet. So now I'm going to go between these two lines, and I'm going to tell this I want it to be 1.5 inches wide. Right, so I'm going to hit enter. And then before I finish my sketch, I'm going to come to the modify, and I'm going to pick this fillet tool. I'm going to click the corners of this rectangle, and I want to fillet them at a 1/2 inch or 0.5 inch radius. So as you're doing this, if you've got a number other than 0.5, go ahead and change that and fillet your 4 corners so it looks something like that. I just hit my enter key to exit the fillet tool, and now I'm going to say finish sketch. And now we're going to use the extrude command. We're going to click inside of this profile, and this time I'm going to come change my operation to cut, and I want to cut in half the thickness of my board. So I'm going to go 0.375, 3/8 of an inch. But you can see I did a positive number, and that blue line tried to go up. It's giving me an error message down here. I need a negative number, so I'm telling it it's going to cut in. Right, so if you're having trouble getting it to cut, just check. Maybe try changing it from positive to negative or negative to positive until it does what you want it to do. Right, this looks good to me, so I'm going to hit enter. Now, I need another basket down here, but I'm going to use the mirror function to bring this down. Right, before I can mirror it, I need to create a mirror plane. So I'm going to go to this mid plane. This is going to create a plane in between two planes. So I'm selecting this end of my object. I'm going to go to my view cube and rotate it 180 degrees. And I'll select this end of my object, and you can see this plane shows up in the middle, which is where we want it. So we'll click OK. And if I hit the home key, it'll go back. Ooh, you hear that beep? I've got muffins in the oven. I'll be right back. In case you were wondering, my muffins aren't done, so I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes. Hopefully we're done with the video by the time that it goes off. All right, we made that mirror plane. Now we're going to go to the create menu and scroll down to our mirror tool. Right, first thing we need to do on our mirror tool is we're going to change this to features instead of body. Then we're going to click on this feature. I'm going to click on mirror plane, and I'm going to pick that plane in the middle, and just like that, my basket gets mirrored over to the other side. Right now, that mirror plane really isn't going to affect this. If you don't like looking at it, you can hit the eyeball by construction, and you can toggle the visibility of that plane on and off. Now we're going to make those smaller scoring baskets. So don't do what I just did. Right? I was rushing. I'm smelling baked goods in my house. Right? I meant to hit create sketch. We're going to sketch on the top of this object. Right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle just kind of in a random spot here. This time I am going to give it a size. I'm going to go 1.5 by 1.5. Right? I'll hit enter. So you'll notice I gave it a size, but the whole thing is still blue. That's because I haven't assigned it a location yet. So now I'm going to take the dimension tool. I'm going to dimension its location, which is going to be 1/2 inch from the basket. And then I want this to line up with that basket. So I'm going to click the edge here and come in 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to use the fillet tool again on here to take and give this some rounded corners. And that looks good. So I'm going to hit enter. And I like what it looks like. So I'm going to finish my sketch. And then just like before, I'm going to go to extrude. We're going to go cut. I'm going to pick my profile so I can get a preview here. And I want to go down. So I'm going to hit the minus key this time, 0.375. And so there's my first basket. And that's actually the only basket I'm going to model up. Now we're going to use a tool called the rectangular pattern tool. So we're going to click on this rectangular pattern. Yours should be set up like mine. The type should be a rectangular pattern. We want bodies, right? And then it says select. So we're going to pick, we don't want bodies, we want features. So we're going to pick that feature. And then for axes, we're just going to pick a corner of our project to be an axis. So I'm going to pick this corner. Right? And you can see right now I got 2 lines facing different directions. Right? So I want this one to actually go this direction as I'm patterning this out on here. So I'm going to have to enter in a negative number, right? And that negative number is going to be -9, but my quantity is going to be 6, right? So we're going to change that to -9 and 6, right? And then for axes 2, my quantity is actually going to be 2, not 3. This is going to be 4.5. And we got to figure out why it says -9 here and 4.5 there. All right. So I hit enter and it kind of escaped me out of there. I'm just going to come down to the bottom here and go to exit or edit rectangular pattern. And I'm going to try dragging this up. All right. So it's going 2. And I think the reason it's going 2 is it's set to extent instead of spacing up top here. So that might have been the reason why. All right, so now you can see I've got these so they line up. All these outside edges line up. All these line up. That looks good. We're going to hit OK. And if we go back to a 3D view, you can see now we've got all those sunken in spots in our Mancala game. All right, so I'm going to hit the Save button up top here because I've got it done. We'll click OK. Right, and in the next video, which I won't post until after the weekend, you'll get a chance to see how we program the CNC router. So congratulations at making it this far.